This is the plaintiff, Eureka Hopkins. She says she gave the defendant a deposit for a baby shower she was throwing for her daughter, and when it was canceled, she wanted a refund. The defendant said she already bought the balloons and spent the money. Come on, 2 months in advance? She's suing for $600, the amount she paid. This is the defendant, Shamika Williams. She says the plaintiff rescheduled the baby shower, then she canceled it altogether. Deposits are non-refundable. She's not returning her money and thinks the judge will agree. She's accused of being a party pooper.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that she wants a refund for the money that she paid the defendant, who was a party planner, because the baby shower she was planning had to be canceled because of COVID. But the defendant says the plaintiff changed the date first and then tried to cancel the party, but deposits are non-refundable, so sorry. It's the case of what a party pooper.
Thank you, Douglas.
You are welcome.
Okay, Ms. Hopkins, talk to me. What happened here?
Well, my daughter was expecting my first grandchild, her first child, and I wanted to give her a nice baby shower. I saw some reviews on Ms. Williams with the defendant on Facebook, so I contacted her and asked her, about her services. I told her what we had in mind with the theme, the colors, the idea would be. She said she could accommodate it. She sent me an invoice. I accepted the terms of the invoice, and the next step was to meet. Because she wanted to meet to do the deposit. I gave her a deposit of $600. Now, it was more than
Why did you give her a deposit? Yeah, why did you give her more than what was required?
Well, I was just pretty much trying to knock all the costs down so that when the time came, I was giving more, to cater everybody.
That's never, you know what? Take it and put it in a lockbox somewhere and swallow the key if you're afraid you're going to get to it. If you pay more than what's necessary, that's more you got to fight for later. Never, ever, 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 ever put more of a deposit than is required. All right, go on.
So we met and we went over the amount of tables. She pretty much showed me where everything would be set. She showed me in her phone pictures of tablecloths and the runners and everything, and I said, okay, that would be perfect. We chose the colors and everything was all set. And then all heck broke loose. The pandemic just went wild.
How many people were going to be at this event?
I think it was 80 people.
Okay, so it was a big shower. Okay.
Yes. I kept in touch with the VFW, but Ms. Pat reached out to me from the VFW and she said, we can't give any showers. I think everybody was hoping this would come and go as quickly, as it came. And
yeah, I remember. Yeah, by Easter.
Right. So,
yeah.
Right. So everybody, she said, well, what we can do, so we can offer you a date of April the 11th. I said, well, let me get in touch with the cake as well as the defendant and make sure that they're available for those dates.
So that doesn't work. And then at some point, it's obvious that there can be no party, certainly not an 80-person party. Did they offer to you to do a smaller party, or they just said, we're done, no parties?
No, Miss Pat advised me that they weren't even able to feed the veterans anymore. They had to close down completely.
Okay. So you contact Ms. Williams, and so you got your money back from the VFW, right? And from other vendors,
they sent me a
correct?
refund, right, everybody.
Right away. So Ms. Williams is the only one who held on to the money, and when you contact her, she tells you what?
She pretty much says that, sorry, there's no refunds. She said that she
said she'd give you the $130 extra that you paid that you didn't have to, like the advance payment, but that was it. Right. Ms. Williams, let me talk to you and ask you, why is it you won't return the money? You know that she can't have the party that you were helping her to plan. You know that, and it's not her fault that she can't have it. It's not like she changed her mind. It's that there's a pandemic.
Right, exactly. Well, the services for Ms. Hopkins started on February the 11th, and the invoice that she received broke down everything that was included in her invoice, which included email support, phone support, consultations, planning, which I did the planning. I went and did a site visit with her. All of this was prior to the pandemic. So there was some services rendered to Ms. Hopkins prior to the pandemic. So that's why
it's really just signing the contract and finding out what she wants. That's it. And you've kept 50% of the fee. That's a lot for what you're saying. I see some receipts for items that you purchased. Are those items that you Did you end up getting those, or did you cancel the purchase?
No, I actually received them. I have them. I still have them. Some of them, the linen was taken out the pack and ironed, and when she rescheduled her party, the linen and stuff was taken out and prepped, because linen takes time to prep. So I prepped the linen, and I still.
How much time does linen take to press? I've been pressing linen my whole life. I mean.
Well, I have multiple clients, so it's not like she was my only client. So I had to start.
I understand, and I'm interested in that, because if you have multiple clients, why did you have to purchase linens? Why didn't you already have linens?
Because the colors that she was requested, I did not have on hand, and I explained that to her, which is why I show her the pictures of the linen that I will be ordering.
What was the color?
In my phone? It was like a bubblegum pink and maybe like a royal purple. It wasn't like a regular purple. And it wasn't a regular pink.
Okay.
They were specific colors.
Right, but she doesn't get to keep them. Let's assume there wasn't a pandemic and there was a baby shower. You would keep them and have them in your stock, right? So there's some value to the linens to you.
Well, I always offer the client to take whatever they want to take.
Wait, you just finished telling me that if she had picked the color you had in stock, you wouldn't have had to order anything. Look, it's a pandemic, Ms. Williams. It's a pandemic. You knew it was an 80-person party. I know that your business is hurting like crazy. And I also know that the plaintiff everybody's hurting. So it isn't who's hurting more. That's not the analysis. The legal analysis is, are you able to perform the contract? And if you're not, is it unfair to make you absorb the cost that you've incurred? But when you look at me and say, I'm keeping $600 because I had to meet with her, there was a lot of consultations, and they all gave the money back.
I never told her that I was keeping her money. I offered to reschedule her event. She was offered a full credit of her $600 for a future event. And I also offered her a partial refund of $135, which is what she paid over her deposit. So I never planned on just not doing anything for her or rendering my services. I offer her a full credit.
I understand, but when you guys plan events all the time, so you think that there's people who just plan events all the time. Some people don't plan events all the time. And the baby, you know what? The baby didn't wait. The baby came. So there's no like, oh, let's wait until the pandemic's over in 2021 and have a baby shower. We're in a situation where you can't perform the thing that she needed you to perform, because there's no party event to set up to do, because the VFW won't do it, because you're under orders in your state not to do it. So there's a problem. Now, let me look at the receipts for the items that you ended up getting.
And can you also take a look at the invoice? Because the invoice breaks down that everything that was included in her services, and which included the consultation, the site visit, the email and phone support.
Okay, when you say the site visit, that's just because you told her to meet you at the site in order for her to give you the deposit, right?
Because she preferred cash.
So Ms. Hopkins contacted me on February 11th. So she had decided she would be booking me for her services. At that time, the deposit would have been due on February the 11th. But Ms. Hopkins asked me if she can pay it on the 21st. So the site visit was done on the same day as the deposit was paid, because that's what she had asked of me.
Okay, I get it, Ms. Williams. I understand. You put some effort into this. You made the orders. You met with her. You got what she wanted. She explained what she wanted. You took the time and you placed the orders. You got the orders in. I see that from looking at the invoices. That's worth something. It's not worth $600, because the real thing someone hires you for is the actual party. And every event planner knows that's what they're hired for. So I am looking at the amount that she paid you. I am going to allow you to keep some of that for your efforts, but I am not going to allow you to keep all of it, because your policy is that it's non-refundable. This is an act of God, which is also something to consider here. This is something where it is impossible for you to perform, and she hired you to perform. So we're done. I'm going to allow you to keep $200 of the $600. I'm going to order you to pay the remaining $400 to Miss Hopkins, and I wish you both luck.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails. She's going to get the bulk of her deposit back, not all of it. She gets $400 instead of $600. Ms. Williams, you heard the judge's explanation. What do you think about it?
I mean, I think it's fair, because I never wanted to keep her $600. I want that to be on the record. I never wanted to keep her $600. I offered her a partial refund and a full credit. So The judge gave a fair ruling. A partial refund is what I was offering, is what she's getting. So.
Well, I mean, look, she won the case, so it was good for her. Ms. Hopkins, obviously making, the effort to file a lawsuit worked out for you. You glad you did it?
Yes. Yes, I'm glad I did it. I just want to say that she's very talented. Her work looks great. It was just a matter of principle. I had no control over a national pandemic, and my daughter had her baby on April. Like the judge said, there's no way I could give a baby shower with a $600 credit in 2021. Who wants to do that? So I'm just glad it's over with.
All right, well, good enough. The judge totally agrees with you. No question about that. Congratulations. You're going to get $400 back. All right, let's see what the judges think about this now. Time for another session of After the Verdict.
Ms. Hopkins was offered a refund of $135.
Right, not $400.
Right, and you ended up giving her $400, and you decided, I guess, that there was a little bit that was earned, right?
Yeah, because she's out some money from the special type of orders, but she's not out all that money because she also is able to use that for the next party. So I had to kind of just, do a little rough justice.
Certainly. And another thing that you pointed out in this case early on when you found out that Ms. Hopkins overpaid is that, every transaction between a consumer and a vendor or someone like this is a potential battle, unfortunately. You have to look at it as, things could go wrong. So you never want to give up your leverage. If you were a general and you were fighting a battle, you wouldn't give up the high ground early on. And she had no reason to give up the extra money.
People do that all the time.
Lose leverage if
or they
things
pay
go wrong.
Entirely in advance and then they have no hammer.
Right.
It's crazy. I've been saying this for 20-something years.
Exactly.
Don't overpay your deposit.
Right. Don't give away your leverage.
So Cindy wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, my neighbor is feeding 5 feral cats, and they have made my garden their litter box. My community doesn't allow trapping any longer. What should I do? Because they have ruined my beautiful garden. Hey, here's the problem. Generally, cats are not subject to the leash law, so there's no automatic liability there if the cat's pooping in your plants. However, I would make the argument that if the cat's roaming and you can prove the cat's the one that's causing the damage and somebody's got to pay and somebody's got to win and lose, I would at least make the argument, but sorry, no guarantees, Cindy.